Again, a lot of functionality was added over the last lectures. Let's now add a side drawer, so some side menu we can use. You can, again, dive into the official documentation to learn more. It's on the top level API. And you register such a side drawer directly when you start a tab or single screen app. So there you got this drawer option you can set to register a drawer that comes in from the left or right. There are a couple of other steps involved though, and I will show you how that works. First of all, before we can start, we need a screen that acts as our drawer. So that is the screen that comes out from the left or the right. So I'll add it here, and let's simply name it side drawer, because that's what it is. Here's our side drawer.js file. So the side drawer now simply is a normal React component. Can be a functional one, a functional component, or a class-based one. I'm going to go for the class-based one as pretty much for all my screens. So let me import this from React. And then I got my class and I'll name it side drawer. You can name it whatever you want. It extends my component. And in there, as always, we have our render method and so on. So it's just a normal React component in the end. We return some JSX. And of course, we export this side drawer as the default of this file. Then I'm going to import some components from React Native to actually build something here. And for now, let's simply add a view here where we output some text. Side drawer, maybe. We can fine-tune this later. For that, I need to import these two components. So I'll import a view and a text. And this is our side drawer component. All we need for now. Now, to load it, I go to Start Main Tabs, because as I just showed you in the documentation, you register your side drawer there. Well, actually, you first of all go to app.js because you need to register it as a screen. This can be a screen with or without Redux, whatever you need. I'll register it without because I don't need it right now. So awesome places, and I'll just name it side drawer. You can name it side drawer screen if you want. I need to import it in this file, therefore, to be able to register it. So let's import side drawer from source screens. Not that, but side drawer, and there the side drawer file. And in our generator function, we simply return the side drawer now. Now with it registered as a screen, now we can use it in our start main tabs file. Because there, where we have this object configuring our tab-based app, we now don't just pass our tabs, but after that, I will now also set up the drawer configuration, which is a JavaScript object. And you can learn more about this in the React Native navigation documentation, of course. And there you can specify either left or right. Now I want to get a drawer from the left. And now we can configure this left drawer here. It's another JavaScript object. And we have to set a screen. So here it's awesomeplaces.side drawer. So that identifier you chose here. With that, you registered a side drawer. Now, if you save all files and you reload your app and you log in, do you see a side drawer here? Well, you can actually see it if you manually slide in from the left. You don't have a toggle button up here, and you see that the side drawer text is below the status bar, but technically it's here. Now on Android, let's also reload there, log in. There, this slide part doesn't really work, so there we would need to add a menu button. And it would be nice to have one on iOS too, because otherwise it's totally random if a user finds out that we have a side menu or not. So this menu button is not added automatically. Instead, we have to add it, and we have to add it for each tab screen. So here, when we set up our tabs, here is where we also can register buttons that should show up in the navigation bar. And that's not limited to the menu button. So this button which opens the drawer, by the way. Any buttons you want to have up here, like a plus button to add a new item, you would register it here. So let's first of all fetch a new icon for this. So I'll get an image source, and the icon I want is iOS-menu. Pick size 30 here too. And then for the first tab, I'll add a new option, new configuration, which is navigator buttons. So buttons which should be added to the nav bar. It's a JavaScript object, and there you can add buttons on the left and right. And you can always learn more about this, as I said, in the documentation. There, if you inspect the tab setup, you will find the navigator buttons configuration, and you can find the details for that configuration a little bit further down. So here we can set up left buttons, which is an array of all the buttons we want to add. And each button is a JavaScript object now, where you can set an icon. There its source says with index 2 now, because it's my third icon, the icon coming from this promise. And maybe a title, menu, which optionally is displayed. Now let me copy this, because I want to use the same setup on the second tab. It by default doesn't add it to all the tabs, because maybe you don't want to use such a button on one of the pages. Maybe the side menu should only be available in one tab. That's why you have to add it to every tab you want to use it. It doesn't make any assumptions about this. Now if you save that file and you reload your app and log in, now you have this button, but it doesn't do anything. On Android, it even crashes now. We'll take care about the crash later, but it's also a pity that it doesn't open the drawer when we click it on iOS. The reason for this is that now we added a button, but remember that I said you could add any buttons you want? How would React Native Navigation know that this button should toggle the side drawer? It might be logical for you, but you could have added any button. A button which adds a new place, which fetches the user location. Could be anything. So we have to manually wire this button up to our side drawer. And we do this in our screens we're loading. So in the share place screen and in the find place screen. Let's start with share place. How do we hook this up? We need to listen to some navigator events. Let's learn how this works in the next lecture, because that's an interesting part on its own.